Hi, I want to share with you today about my transition from being a full-time missionary in Africa to retirement here in the United States. That took place 17 years ago. You may wonder how difficult that has been for me. Well, my answer to that is no, it hasn't been difficult. There have been changes, there have been adjustments to make, but by and large, it's been a very smooth transition into retirement. Of course, there have been basics that have undergirt that transition, like a good devotional time every day with the Lord, eating a good balanced diet, getting good exercise, and a good night's rest. But primarily, the thing that has made it such a smooth transition has been perspective. The Apostle Paul gives insight into this in Titus chapter 3 and verse 8. He had sent Titus to the island of Crete to appoint elders in all of the towns. Then he told Titus, be careful to insist that the people devote themselves to doing what is good, because it is profitable for everyone, to the recipient as well as to the giver. All of us want to be productive, to be fruitful as we live out our life day by day, year by year. Before retirement, as I was a missionary in Africa, I had purpose, I had significance, I had value, and I was making a contribution to the kingdom of God. Then, in coming to the United States and retiring, the same desire was in my heart. I didn't want to be put on a shelf. I wanted to continue having significance, impacting people, making a contribution to the kingdom of God. Well, that has happened, and I thank God for the opportunity that He has given me to do that. It all began when I was preparing to leave the country of Eritrea and come back to the States. About a week before departure, the editor of the church newspaper asked if he could interview me. I agreed, and we sat down, and for about 1 hour, he asked me all the right questions. He asked about where I was born, my family, my call to missions, the ministries that I had been involved in through the 40 years in Africa. And then he came to the last question and he said to me, Jerry, what is it that kept you coming back to Africa all these years? Well, I thought about that briefly, and then I said, it wasn't the big evangelistic meetings in the stadiums with thousands in attendance and hundreds coming to the Lord every night. That is not what kept me coming back to Africa. And it wasn't the miracles that we saw God performing, miracles of healing that were just amazing. That is not what kept me coming back. And then through the years, I've had the opportunity to develop a lot of different programs and to initiate them. And you can be sure that is not the thing that brought me back to Africa. The thing that brought me back to Africa year after year was the opportunity to touch a life along the way. With that statement, the interview closed. But when I returned to the States and had an opportunity to share with my wife, Maxine, I discussed this interview with her and that concept of touching a life along the way. It doesn't matter what ministry we're in. It doesn't matter what country we're in. It doesn't matter what set of circumstances we are in. We can interact with people and we can touch their life. Here in retirement, we can work with our family, with our neighbors, our church, our community, and there is nothing stopping us from continuing to touch lives. And as we touch lives, we will have significance. One thing I am convinced of, thoroughly convinced of, touching lives along the way never needs to stop.